In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what's hiding inside the frozen shrimp you've been feeding your family for years. From industrial chemicals designed to make you pay shrimp prices for added water weight, to banned antibiotics, a 2025 radioactive contamination recall, and a supply chain with documented forced labor. 90% of the shrimp Americans eat is imported. The FDA physically inspects less than 2% of it and tests roughly 0.1% for drug residues. That means for every 1,000 shipments of foreign shrimp entering this country, only one gets a drug test. After the 10 brands you need to avoid, I'll reveal the only 4 that are actually just shrimp. Let's get into it. 10. Gorton's Butterfly Shrimp. Starting our countdown at number 10, Gorton's is one of the most recognized frozen seafood brands in America. They've been sitting in American freezers since the 1950s, and most families grab their breaded shrimp without a second thought. But if you actually read what's inside the box, you'll find something closer to a chemistry experiment than a piece of seafood. Take their butterfly shrimp. The ingredient list runs longer than a grocery receipt. You've got enriched wheat flour, vegetable oil, modified cornstarch, sugar, dextrose, leavening agents, and a parade of preservatives and stabilizers. Buried in that list is sodium tripolyphosphate, a chemical commonly known as STPP. This is an industrial phosphate compound used to pump water into the shrimp before it ever gets breaded. That means before you even factor in the coating, you're already paying shrimp prices for added water weight. Gorton's also includes sodium metabase sulfite, a sulfite preservative that an estimated 4 to 10% of asthmatic adults are sensitive to, with reactions ranging from wheezing to severe anaphylactic episodes. On top of that, they add disodium inosinate and disodium guanylate, both flavor enhancers in the same chemical family as monosodium glutamate. These additives exist for one reason: to make cheap, over-processed shrimp taste better than it actually is. When you break down the weight of what's in the box, you're eating more breading, oil, and chemical additives than actual shrimp. The shrimp itself is imported and farmed overseas before being shipped to the United States for coating and packaging. For a brand that generations of American families have trusted as a simple weeknight dinner, the gap between that reputation and what's actually inside the box is remarkable. Consumer testing and nutritional breakdowns consistently show that breaded frozen shrimp products deliver far more sodium and carbohydrates per serving than actual shrimp protein. A single serving of Gorton's butterfly shrimp contains more sodium than you'd get from eating plain shrimp seasoned at home. And most of that sodium comes from the additives and breading, not from the shrimp itself. If you're buying Gorton's because you want seafood on your table, you might want to flip that box over and count the ingredients first. You'll need a minute. 9. Nature's Promise Shrimp. At number 9, Nature's Promise sounds like something plucked straight out of a farmer's market. The name alone suggests clean, wholesome food. But when it comes to their frozen shrimp, the promise falls apart fast. Nature's Promise is a store brand carried by several major grocery chains, and its shrimp is imported from overseas suppliers. The problem isn't just the additives, it's the supply chain behind the product. In 2021, Nature's Promise frozen shrimp was part of one of the largest shrimp recalls in recent memory, triggered by salmonella contamination traced back to an Indian processing facility called Avanti Frozen Foods. That recall sickened at least 9 people and forced dozens of shrimp products off shelves nationwide. Avanti supplied shrimp to a staggering number of American brands under different labels, and Nature's Promise was one of them. This is the hidden reality of store brand shrimp. You think you're buying from your trusted grocer, but behind the label is an overseas processor you've never heard of, operating in a country where the FDA has essentially no oversight. What makes Nature's Promise particularly misleading is the branding itself. The word nature implies something pure and minimally processed, but organic or natural labeling on shrimp tells you almost nothing about chemical treatments, antibiotic residues, or processing conditions. Organic certification for farmed shrimp means the feed was organic. It doesn't mean the shrimp wasn't soaked in sodium tripolyphosphate. It doesn't mean the facility passed a food safety inspection. India supplies roughly 40% of all shrimp imported to the United States. In 2024, the FDA refused 31 Indian shrimp shipments for banned antibiotics alone, the highest of any country that year. When your shrimp comes from that pipeline and the best they can offer is a name that sounds nice, that should concern you. 8. Waterfront Bistro Shrimp. At number 8, Waterfront Bistro is the premium frozen seafood line sold at Safeway and Albertsons stores across the country. The packaging looks upscale. The name sounds like a coastal restaurant, and the price tag reflects it. But premium branding doesn't mean premium sourcing, and this brand proves it. Waterfront Bistro frozen shrimp was caught in the exact same 2021 Avanti Frozen Foods Salmonella recall that swept up Nature's Promise and nearly a dozen other brands. The same Indian processing facility, the same contamination, different label on the bag. Consumers paying a premium for Waterfront Bistro had no idea their shrimp came from the same facility, supplying discount store brands. What makes this entry especially interesting is what we'll get to later on the best list. Albertsons and Safeway also sell a brand called Open Nature, which is one of the cleanest frozen shrimp products in America. Same parent company, same store shelves, completely different product. One uses imported farmed shrimp from overseas processors with documented contamination issues. The other is wild-caught product of USA, with a single ingredient. The fact that they sell both tells you something important. They know the difference. They just charge accordingly and hope you don't read the fine print. Waterfront Bistro shrimp is typically imported from Thailand, India, or Indonesia, all countries that the FDA has flagged repeatedly for antibiotic contamination and food safety violations. The premium price doesn't buy you better shrimp, it buys you better packaging. And that's a distinction consumers paying extra at the register deserve to know about. 7. Sensa Raw Shrimp. At number 7, Sensa is a brand you'll find in grocery store freezer aisles across the Midwest and beyond, and it has a problem that no other brand on this list can match. It is the only frozen shrimp brand caught in both of the two largest salmonella recalls in the last 5 years. In 2020, Sensa was part of the Qatar exports recall, which also swept up Kirkland Signature and Aquastar. Then, barely a year later, Sensa appeared again in the 2021 Avanti Frozen Foods recall, the same one that hit Nature's Promise and Waterfront Bistro, two separate Indian suppliers, two separate salmonella contaminations, the same brand name on the shelf both times. That kind of repeat appearance isn't bad luck, it's a pattern. And it points to a brand that's sourcing from whoever offers the cheapest price, regardless of facility safety records. On top of the recall history, Sensia lists sodium tripolyphosphate right on the ingredient panel. Shrimp, water, salt, and STPP added to retain moisture. That phrase, to retain moisture, is industry code for, we pumped this shrimp full of water so it weighs more when you buy it. STPP binds water into the flesh of the shrimp, inflating the weight you pay for at the register. When you cook STPP-treated shrimp, it often shrinks dramatically and releases a milky white liquid in the pan. That liquid is the added water leaving the meat. You just paid shrimp prices for it. Sensia sources from Thailand, a country whose shrimp industry has been the subject of major investigations into forced labor and human trafficking. The Associated Press documented migrant workers from Myanmar, Cambodia, and Laos being trafficked onto Thai shrimp peeling sheds, working under conditions described as modern slavery. Between the dual recalls, the chemical additives, and the supply chain ethics, Sensia earns its spot on this list. 6. Aquastar Raw Shrimp. At number 6, Aquastar markets itself as a quality frozen seafood option, but the reality behind the label raises serious concerns. Their raw, peeled, and deveined shrimp lists sodium tripolyphosphate right on the ingredient panel, meaning every bag has been treated with the same water-inflating chemical we've already covered. Aquastar sources its shrimp from India, Indonesia, and Vietnam simultaneously. That multi-country sourcing model means the shrimp in your bag could come from any one of 3 different countries with 3 different regulatory environments, processing standards, and contamination profiles. You have no way of knowing which country produced the specific shrimp you're eating. The bag just says product of India, Indonesia, and / or Vietnam. In 2020, Aquastar Reserve was pulled off shelves as part of the Cater Exports Salmonella recall, the same one that caught Sencha and Kirkland Signature. That recall traced contaminated shrimp from Indian processors into American grocery stores. But contamination isn't the only issue. The FDA's own sampling program from 2022 to 2024 found that 36% of imported frozen seafood samples were illegally short-weighted, meaning the net weight on the package was overstated by counting the ice glaze as product. 8 out of 16 Indonesian shrimp samples violated weight regulations, short-changing consumers by as much as 9.9%. When your shrimp comes from Indonesia, that means nearly $1 in $10 you spend at the register could be paying for ice, not shrimp. You think you're buying 2 pounds of shrimp, you're actually buying 1 pound and 13 ounces of shrimp and 3 ounces of ice glaze that gets counted as product weight. And this isn't speculation. This is what the FDA's own compliance program found during targeted sampling. In 2024, the FDA refused 81 shrimp shipments for banned antibiotics, the highest number in 8 years. India led with 31 refusals, Vietnam had 18, and Indonesia had 1. Those are the 3 countries Aquastar sources from. When a brand pulls from 3 of the most frequently flagged import sources and adds STPP on top of it, you're getting exactly what the cheapest possible supply chain produces. 5. Chicken of the Sea frozen shrimp. At number 5, Chicken of the Sea is a name that has been in American kitchens for over a century. You probably associate it with canned tuna, but the brand also sells frozen shrimp. And behind that familiar name is a parent company with one of the most disturbing supply chain scandals in the history of the American food industry. Chicken of the Sea is owned by Thai Union, a Thai seafood conglomerate that was directly implicated in a Pulitzer Prize-winning investigation by the Associated Press. In 2015, AP journalists tracked shrimp peeled by enslaved migrant workers from Myanmar, Cambodia, and Laos directly into the supply chains of major American retailers, including Walmart, Kroger, Whole Foods, and Chicken of the Sea. Workers described being held captive on boats and in processing sheds, forced to work 16-hour days, and beaten if they slowed down. Some hadn't been paid in months or years. Thai Union eventually pledged around $5 million to bring shrimp peeling operations in-house to address the forced labor problem. But $5 million is a rounding error for a company with billions in annual revenue, and the structural conditions that enabled trafficking in the Thai seafood industry haven't disappeared. Beyond the supply chain, Chicken of the Sea's canned shrimp products contain sodium bisulfite, a sulfite preservative with documented allergic risks. Their frozen products vary by SKU, but several contain additives and preservatives beyond just shrimp. The brand did launch a reformulated line called Sea Change, with cleaner ingredients, but the standard products you're most likely to grab at the store still carry the legacy of a brand that built part of its supply chain on human suffering. And if you think the labor problem ended in Thailand, think again. In 2024, a 3-year investigation by the Corporate Accountability Lab alongside AP and the Outlaw Ocean Project documented forced labor, child labor, wage theft, and banned antibiotics at shrimp processing facilities in India that held BAP certification, the industry's own responsible sourcing label. India now supplies about 40% of all shrimp imported to the United States. The investigators and the Southern Shrimp Alliance filed a formal complaint with the Federal Trade Commission, alleging that BAP certification amounts to deceptive marketing. That history doesn't wash off with a label redesign. 4. Kirkland Signature Raw Shrimp. Approaching our top worst offenders, Kirkland Signature at number 4 might come as a surprise. Costco has built a reputation for quality, and millions of families trust Kirkland as a reliable step above generic store brands. But their standard frozen raw shrimp tells a different story. Flip the bag over and you'll see it. Shrimp, water, salt, sodium triphosphate added to retain moisture. The same STPP treatment found in budget brands at half the price. Costco is charging you a premium for shrimp that has been pumped with water using the same industrial chemical that Walmart's Great Value uses. In 2020, Kirkland Signature frozen shrimp was part of the Cater Export Salmonella recall, the same event that caught Sensea and Aqua Star. Contaminated shrimp from an Indian processing facility made it onto Costco warehouse shelves. For a retailer that prides itself on quality control and member trust, having your flagship brand swept up in a multi-state salmonella recall is a significant failure. But here's what really gives this entry its edge. Costco also sells a separate SKU labeled as chemical-free shrimp with no STPP. That product exists on the same warehouse floor. Costco knows that STPP is a problem. They know consumers don't want it. They even sell a version without it, but they keep the STPP version as the standard default bag, the one most members grab without checking. The chemical-free version is smaller, more expensive per pound, and harder to find. That's not an accident, it's a pricing strategy. They give you the option to avoid chemicals, but they make you pay more for it and search harder to find it. Meanwhile, the default product that most families toss in the cart without looking is the one loaded with industrial phosphate. For a brand synonymous with trust, that quiet two-tier system says more than any ingredient label ever could. 3. Sea Best Raw Shrimp. At number 3, Sea Best holds a distinction that no other major raw shrimp brand on this list can claim. It is the only widely available raw frozen shrimp product that contains both sodium triphosphate and sodium bisulfite in the same bag. Read that ingredient panel. Shrimp, salt, sodium triphosphate to retain moisture, sodium bisulfite as a preservative. 2 chemical treatments in one product. You're getting the water-inflating phosphate that makes you pay for weight you'll lose during cooking, plus a sulfite preservative that poses a documented medical risk to a significant portion of the population. Sodium bisulfite is added to shrimp to prevent melanosis, which is the harmless blackening that occurs on shrimp shells during storage. It's a cosmetic treatment. The shrimp isn't spoiled when it darkens. It just doesn't look as appealing in the bag. So they dose it with sulfites to keep it looking pink and translucent. That's it. The chemical exists to make the product look better on the shelf, not to make it safer to eat. The problem is that an estimated 4 to 10% of adults with asthma are sulfite sensitive. Reactions range from mild wheezing to severe bronchospasm and, in rare cases, anaphylaxis. The FDA requires a "contains sulfites" statement on labels when concentrations exceed 10 parts per million and caps residue at 100 parts per million. But many consumers, especially older adults managing respiratory conditions, have no idea that their frozen shrimp contains a chemical that could trigger a serious reaction. STPP-treated shrimp that also contains sulfites gives you a product that is chemically modified twice before it ever reaches your pan. One additive inflates the weight, the other disguises the aging. Neither has anything to do with making the shrimp safer or more nutritious. You're paying premium per pound prices for water weight wrapped in a cosmetic chemical treatment. Sea Best is the clearest example on this list of what not just shrimp actually looks like when you read the fine print. 2. Sea-Pack Shrimp. Coming in at number 2, Sea-Pack is the best-selling frozen shrimp brand in the United States. It sits in virtually every grocery store freezer aisle in the country, and it is, by a wide margin, the furthest thing from just shrimp that the frozen section has to offer. Pick up any Sea-Pack breaded product and turn it around. Their butterfly shrimp ingredient list includes shrimp, enriched wheat flour, vegetable oil, water, modified cornstarch, yellow corn flour, sugar, salt, baking powder, garlic powder, onion powder, spice extractives, sodium, tripolyphosphate, sodium bisulfite, disodium inosinate, disodium guanylate, methyl cellulose, sodium alginate, and xanthan gum. That's over 20 ingredients in a product marketed as shrimp. STPP pumps the shrimp with water. Sodium bisulfite keeps it looking fresh. Disodium inosinate and disodium guanylate are flavor enhancers designed to trick your taste buds into thinking the shrimp tastes better than it does. Methyl cellulose is a synthetic thickener used in everything from tile adhesive to laxatives. Sodium alginate is a gelling agent extracted from seaweed. Xanthan gum is a stabilizer produced by bacterial fermentation. These aren't cooking ingredients, they're industrial food manufacturing compounds. Their shrimp scampi isn't any better. It lists STPP plus sodium metabisulfite, which is another sulfite variant. Even CPAC's products that sound simpler are still loaded with additives that have no place in real shrimp. What makes CPAC particularly concerning is the scale. This is the #1 frozen shrimp brand in America. Millions of families serve it for dinner every week. Parents put it on their kids' plates, believing they're feeding them seafood. In reality, the shrimp is the minority ingredient by weight once you factor in the breading, oil, water, and chemical cocktail surrounding it. CPAC has built an empire on the assumption that consumers won't read the back of the box. And for decades, they've been right. But when you actually see what's in there, the gap between the product's image and its reality is the widest on this entire list. An independent study by Oceana, the Ocean Conservation Organization, DNA, tested 143 shrimp products from 111 grocery stores and restaurants and found that 30% were misrepresented. Farmed shrimp was sold as Gulf or wild, and in one case, a banded coral shrimp, an aquarium pet species, turned up in a bag of frozen salad shrimp. When the industry standard is this loose and the best-selling brand in the country won't even give you a clean ingredient list, you're operating in a market where the consumer comes last. America's favorite frozen shrimp isn't shrimp. It's a delivery system for chemicals and breading with some shrimp mixed in. 1. Great Value Frozen Shrimp. Taking the #1 spot as the worst frozen shrimp you can buy, Great Value combines everything wrong with the American frozen shrimp industry into one blue and yellow bag. This is Walmart's flagship store brand, the single most purchased budget frozen shrimp in the country, found in freezer aisles in all 50 states. And it has earned this top spot through a combination of chemical additives, catastrophic quality control failures, and a recall so alarming it made national news. Start with the ingredient label: shrimp, water, salt, sodium tripolyphosphate to retain moisture. The same STPP water inflation found in Sensea, Aquastar, and Kirkland. You're paying for pumped water at the register and watching your shrimp shrink in the pan. But that's the baseline problem with Great Value shrimp. The real issue came in early 2025 when the FDA issued a recall after an Indonesian processing facility called PT Bahari Makmur Sejati, also known as BMS Foods, shipped shrimp to the United States that tested positive for cesium-137, a radioactive isotope. 3 separate lots of Great Value frozen shrimp across 13 states were pulled from Walmart shelves. The recall also hit other brands supplied by the same facility, including Southwind Foods labels like Sandbar, Arctic Shores, Best Yet, Great American, and First Street, plus Kroger branded bags. Now, the FDA stated that the cesium-137 level detected was approximately 68 becquerels per kilogram, well below their derived intervention level of 1,200. A Rutgers food safety expert called the immediate health risk quite low. But the FDA still recommended consumers discard the affected product, citing concerns about chronic low-dose exposure. When a federal agency tells you to throw away your shrimp because it tested positive for a radioactive isotope, the exact becquerel count becomes secondary to the fact that it happened at all. The fact that the same Indonesian facility's shrimp ended up under Great Value, Kroger, Arctic Shores, Best Yet First Street, and Sandbar labels tells you everything about how the budget frozen shrimp market actually works. One overseas factory packages the same product into different bags for different retailers, and none of them have meaningful quality control over what's coming out of that facility. This is what happens when the cheapest possible shrimp is sourced from the cheapest possible supplier on the other side of the world, in a country where the FDA has virtually zero presence. Great Value shrimp is priced to be the budget option, and it is the budget option in every sense of the word. The lowest price, the lowest quality control, and the lowest bar for what ends up in your bag. Between the STPP, the radioactive recall, and Walmart's structural incentive to source from whoever bids lowest, regardless of safety record, Great Value frozen shrimp represents the absolute worst of what the American frozen shrimp market has become. If you have a bag of this in your freezer right now, check the lot number and maybe think twice about buying another one. After exposing those 10 brands, here's the good news. Clean frozen shrimp does exist. You just need to know where to look and what to look for. These 4 frozen shrimp products actually deliver on what the label suggests, with clean ingredient lists, transparent sourcing, and a commitment to selling you shrimp that is actually just shrimp. No phosphates, no sulfites, no industrial chemicals designed to inflate your grocery bill or disguise an inferior product. These are the brands that nutrition experts and seafood watchdog organizations consistently recommend. 4. Trader Joe's Wild Argentinian Red Shrimp. Starting our best list at number 4, Trader Joe's Wild Argentinian Red Shrimp is one of the cleanest and most affordable options in the frozen aisle. The ingredient list reads shrimp and salt. That's it. 2 ingredients. No sodium tripolyphosphate, no sodium bisulfite, no stabilizers, no flavor enhancers, no preservatives of any kind. These shrimp are wild caught in the cold waters off Patagonia, Argentina, which is about as far from the antibiotic-laden shrimp farms of Southeast Asia as you can possibly get. Wild caught means no antibiotics, no growth hormones, no confined aquaculture ponds. The shrimp live in the open ocean and are harvested from a managed fishery. The flavor difference is noticeable immediately. Argentinian red shrimp have a natural sweetness and a firmer texture than most farmed imports, closer to lobster than to the rubbery, waterlogged shrimp you get from STPP-treated bags. Because there's no chemical water-binding agent pumping them up, what you see in the bag is what you get in the pan. No shrinkage, no milky liquid pooling in your skillet. At Trader Joe's pricing, these typically run around $8 to $10 per pound depending on the size, which is competitive with many of the chemical-laden brands on our worst list. You're paying comparable prices for a dramatically cleaner product. The only trade-off is availability. You need a Trader Joe's nearby to buy them. A 2024 study published in Frontiers in Toxicology by researchers at Portland State University found microplastic particles in 180 out of 182 seafood samples tested, with shrimp averaging among the highest concentrations. Wild-caught shrimp from open cold water fisheries, like the Argentinian Patagonian waters, carry lower contamination risk than shrimp farmed in warm, polluted coastal ponds. It's not a guarantee of zero microplastics, but it's a significantly better starting point. If you have access to a Trader Joe's, this is a no-brainer switch from anything on the avoid list. 3. Open Nature Wild-Caught Shrimp. At number 3, Open Nature is the brand that makes Waterfront Bistro's appearance on the worst list so damning. Both brands are sold by Albertsons and Safeway. Same parent company, same stores. But while Waterfront Bistro sells imported farmed shrimp from overseas processors that got caught in a salmonella recall, Open Nature sells wild-caught shrimp with a single ingredient. That's right. The ingredient list on Open Nature wild-caught shrimp reads shrimp. One word, no water, no salt, no STPP, no sulfites, no preservatives, just shrimp. The packaging is labeled Product of USA and clearly states no preservatives. This is American wild-caught shrimp, harvested from domestic fisheries that operate under U.S. environmental and food safety regulations. The FDA's import alert system, the antibiotic refusals, the banned drug detections. None of that applies here because this product never left the country. It was caught, processed, and frozen in the United States. Open Nature's shrimp doesn't shrink in the pan because there's no chemical water binding inflating the weight. What you thaw is what you cook. The texture is firm, the flavor is clean, and you're not subsidizing an overseas supply chain with documented labor abuses and contamination issues. Availability is the primary drawback. You need to shop at an Albertsons, Safeway, Vons, Jewel Osco, or one of their affiliate banners to find it. But if you have access to any of those stores, Open Nature is sitting in the same freezer aisle as the chemical-treated imports, usually for only a few dollars more per bag. Consumer Reports conducted an extensive study testing 342 shrimp samples and found bacteria on 60% of raw samples. Among 205 raw farmed imported samples, 11 tested positive for illegal antibiotics, including oxytetracycline and enrofloxacin. Domestically sourced wild-caught shrimp like Open Nature avoids the import pipeline, where those contamination problems concentrate. The fact that this product exists alongside Waterfront Bistro proves that the parent company knows exactly how to source clean shrimp. They just don't make it the default option across all their brands. 365 by Whole Foods Market Shrimp, claiming the number 2 spot, 365 by Whole Foods Market has taken a position that no other major grocery chain has matched. They banned sodium tripolyphosphate and sodium bisulfite from their entire seafood department across every brand they carry. It's a chain-wide policy. If it's sold at Whole Foods, it hasn't been treated with STPP or sulfites, period. Their 365 brand raw shrimp lists 2 ingredients, shrimp and water. No STPP, no sulfites, no preservatives. The water is part of the freezing process, not a chemical binder designed to inflate weight. This is what a normal, minimally processed frozen shrimp product should look like. Whole Foods also carries responsibly farmed options alongside wild-caught varieties. Their quality standards require every piece of seafood to meet sourcing criteria that go beyond what the FDA mandates, including third-party auditing and traceability requirements that most conventional grocers don't enforce. What earns 365 the number 2 spot over other clean brands is scale and accessibility. Whole Foods operates over 500 stores across the United States, Canada, and the UK. This isn't a boutique brand you need to order online or hunt through a specialty shop to find. It's sitting in the freezer section of a major national chain. For consumers who want to switch away from chemical-treated shrimp without dramatically changing where they shop, 365 is the most accessible clean option with significant national reach. The only caveat is price. Whole Foods shrimp does cost more per pound than Great Value or Kirkland. But when you factor in the STPP water weight you're paying for with those brands, the real per-pound cost of actual shrimp meat narrows considerably. You're paying more per bag, but you're also getting more shrimp per bag. When 365 was caught in the 2021 Avanti recall, Whole Foods responded quickly, and the recall demonstrated that their supplier vetting, while not perfect, is responsive. No system is flawless, but a company that bans the worst chemicals industry-wide has earned a level of trust that most competitors haven't. 1. Key West Pink Shrimp. Taking the top spot as the best frozen shrimp you can buy, Key West Pink Shrimp represents what frozen shrimp was supposed to be before the industry decided chemicals and overseas mass production were more profitable. The ingredient list is a single word: shrimp. That's the entire label. No water, no salt, no preservatives, no STPP, no sulfites, nothing added, nothing removed, nothing chemically treated, just wild-caught pink shrimp from the waters off the Florida Keys, frozen and put in a bag. Key West pink shrimp are harvested from one of the most well-managed wild fisheries in the United States. The warm, clean waters around the Florida Keys produce shrimp with a naturally sweet, delicate flavor that doesn't need chemical enhancement to taste good. The fishery operates under strict U.S. federal and state regulations, with seasonal closures and catch limits designed to protect the population long-term. This is the opposite of a shrimp farm in Southeast Asia pumping antibiotics into crowded ponds. Because these shrimp are never treated with STPP, what you buy is what you cook. No shrinkage, no milky runoff, no paying $10 a pound for $2 worth of chemically bound water. The texture after cooking is firm and clean, nothing like the mushy, waterlogged result you get from heavily treated imports. Key West pink shrimp are available frozen at Whole Foods under the 365 label, at specialty seafood markets, and through online retailers that ship direct from Florida. They are more expensive per pound than imported farmed shrimp, typically ranging from $14 to $20 per pound, depending on size and source. But that price reflects what real, untreated, domestically caught shrimp actually costs when no one is cutting corners with chemicals, overseas labor, or water inflation. Every other product on this list that costs less is cheaper for a reason. It's either pumped with water, treated with sulfites, sourced from countries with rampant antibiotic abuse, or processed in facilities with documented contamination. Key West pink shrimp costs more because none of that applies. One ingredient, one country of origin, zero chemicals. This is what shrimp is supposed to be. There you have it, 10 frozen shrimp brands to leave on the shelf, and 4 that actually deserve your money. Before your next trip to the grocery store, remember this. Flip the bag over. If the ingredient list contains sodium triplophosphate or sodium bisulfite, put it back. Look for product of USA and wild caught on the label, and understand that if the shrimp costs $5 a pound, somebody cut a corner somewhere, and you're the one eating it. If this video opened your eyes, drop a like, leave a comment telling me which brand you've been buying, and share this with your family before their next grocery run. Hit subscribe so you never miss a video protecting your health and your wallet. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.